Right now on the National Weather Desk. Winter warm-up. While much of the nation enjoys a break, the snow is still falling in New England.
Some of these side roads aren't in perfect condition.
Inversion haze. Utah looks for solutions to unhealthy air in the winter.
It's definitely, one piece of a bigger suite of solution.
Peachy forecast? 1 year after the worst crop in decades, Georgia's peach farmers are hoping the weather cooperates.
I didn't see a single peach this summer.
Ice shelf dangers. They may look cool, but they pose real dangers.
I've never noticed an iceberg here before, and I've lived here all my life.
And one researcher's journey to Antarctica gets a warm reception on TikTok.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Well, good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Eileen Whalen. Well, after several weeks of intense winter weather, most of the nation is finally getting a little break today. In fact, many cities are going to see record heat over the next few days. But winter isn't going away for good. Hartford, Connecticut looked like a winter wonderland on Sunday, and this morning the flakes are flying in Maine. Johnny Mayfie is in Portland this morning where the flakes are flying.
Some of these side roads aren't in perfect condition. Like I mentioned earlier, there's some snowpack on them. And this road down here, we're on Ballin Street, and some of the cars are why this one looks clear, but the other ones have been cleared up a little bit, and this is a roundabout in this little section in the middle right here, so that's why that's not plowed. That's not supposed to be plowed. But if you haven't headed out the door yet, well, let's show you what you're dealing with. It's sort of light and fluffy on top, but underneath it can get a little heavier, so you might want to fuel up with a banana or a granola bar or something, because it can get a little heavy, and some of the powder will blow, but otherwise you can just throw it off to the side a little bit, and that means that underneath snow is good for some snowball snow as well.
Well, most of the nation isn't going to see snow like that. In fact, these are high temperatures for Wednesday. Guys, we're talking 80s and 90s in Texas and 70s through parts of the plains, where just a few weeks ago, the mercury fell below zero. Well, in Pennsylvania, last week's warmer weather is making it difficult for some businesses to keep their doors open. Maxine Rose learned the weather whiplash is impacting their bottom line.
It's just put a wrench into things again. The last two winters have just been, they haven't been winters.
One day, bouts of warmer weather melting plenty of snow.
Humidity has to be a dry humidity, of course, and then any temperatures probably 25 and under. We need the man-made snow here, as that's how we operate.
And the next, persistent rain, creating icy and even dangerous conditions.
When you come here, we want you to have a positive experience and a fun time. Today, as you can see, wouldn't have been a positive and a fun experience.
As a result, Doug says many of their hours, lanes, and staffing have had to be cut, putting a pause on potential revenue.
Probably the biggest frustration is our restaurant and our Miners Pub does very well when tubing is open.
Other places like Chambersburg feeling a similar impact when it comes to their Ice Fest.
We try to plan for everything, but Mother Nature always throws us curveballs. So this year we did postpone some of the live carving, and we postponed putting the smaller sculptures out.
They'd worked so hard on them, and then they're being melted.
However, with many other activities to offer, for the Ice Fest, it isn't a total loss.
It's funny because the colder the weather is, the better it is for the ice. The warmer the weather is, the better it is for the crowds. So even though the ice was melting, I think people kind of have fun trying to guess what it was. And they just like being outside, being downtown.
Coming out here and tubing as a family and with groups, it's a lot of fun. We can salvage a few more weeks if the temperature cooperates.
And a note of caution for at-home gardeners. Don't let this recent bout of warmer weather fool you. In fact, experts say to hold off on starting that garden too early. Some areas of the country can actually see freezing temperatures as late as May. But there are a few things that you can do now to help your garden get ready for spring. Jesse Kane has the details.
I say stop what you're doing. Put those shovels back in your sheds. Because, it is deceiving.
Lima says it's not uncommon to have a couple warm days this early in the year. While it's best to wait to plant anything, fruit-bearing trees that are already in the ground can be damaged by early growing degree days when the temperature is over 55.
And after so many hours of that exposure, the buds will open. Certain plants will bloom. It's like a program. So what happens is if it starts warming up a little early, that'll start the clock will start. If we get a late frost, then that can really harm.
This can affect 50 to 60% of the harvest based on the accumulation of these warm days. But Lima says it is what it is, and there's only one thing gardeners can do with these warm days in January.
Right now, it's a great time to soil test, as long as it's not either muddy or frozen, because you got to get that soil probe in there or that shovel in there. But if you can get a day where it's not too wet and the ground isn't frozen, take a soil sample from your garden. And then once you get that soil test, it's a great time to be able to lime it so that you can get the right pH to be able to grow that crop that you like.
Well, this is expected to be a hazy week in Utah. The unhealthy air is created by what's called an inversion, which typically happens when there is snow on the ground. Christian Saida is in Salt Lake City with more on the weather phenomenon and the efforts to clean the air.
The inversion is a weather phenomenon. Where we get the air stuck essentially in our valley bowls.
According to the Utah Department of Environmental Quality, inversion occurs when warmer air at higher elevations traps the cooler air below.
This is something that's caused by all of us. We drive, we heat our homes, all of us are emitting things that are contributing to this air quality.
Bruning recommends simple changes like reducing cold starts, not idling, carpooling, and riding transit. It's why Senator Nate Bluin is proposing Senate Bill 153. It would enhance penalties for idling commercial vehicles on bad air days.
It's not going to solve our inversion issues for sure, but it's definitely, one piece of a bigger suite of solution.
The bill would allow citizens to monitor idling commercial vehicles, and after a certain time frame, the vehicle can be reported.
You can turn your thermostat down. You can do something to improve the energy efficiency of your home.
The state is taking steps to improve the air. It's implementing programs, statutes, and rules to reduce emissions, research, and outreach campaigns.
At this point, there really aren't any silver bullets for air quality. It's just so many little things that we all do every day. And if we just do a little bit, then it'll make a difference.
Well, Georgia peach farmers hope their crops look like this by harvest time. Unfortunately, that didn't happen last year. A late winter freeze destroyed much of the fruit. So how is this winter looking so far? Well, Greg Lloyd visited a farm near Macon that was hit hard last year to see how this season is going.
As the cloudy, wet January rains down on Gregg Farms, optimism sprouts from Stuart Gregg. A hard March freeze last year wiped out the family's peach crop and kept them from opening their farm this past summer.
It was a weird year this year. It was weird not being up here. It was weird not having peaches. I didn't see a single peach this summer. My dad found one and that was it. So I missed the peaches, I missed the customers. And so really it was weird being up here and all we did was cut grass and not saw a whole lot of people either.
But the new year brings new promise. The trees soaked up the bitter, biting cold in recent weeks, something that's necessary for peach trees to produce good crops.
Peach trees need about around this area need about 1,000 hours of cold hours. And just recently through this week, we have 940 hours. And that's way ahead of where we've been the past 3 years.
Greg, determined to stay positive, says the possibility of a late freeze again this year does cross his mind.
I'm a little nervous, but another thing is Easter's early this year. It's actually at the end of March, and so that means there'll be an earlier full moon. And usually after that full moon, that's when you know you've made it through. So with it being earlier, I have higher hopes this year than last year.
Well, now some news that is out of this world. NASA says it found water on an exoplanet 97 light years from Earth. Astronomers used the Hubble Space Telescope to detect water molecules in the small, blazing hot planet's atmosphere. But temperatures on the planet reached 800 degrees Fahrenheit, making it very unlikely that any kind of life exists there. Well, coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll find out how the military prepares for cold weather combat. And we'll help you better understand the polar vortex.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn with a look at the Northeast. Let's get a look at the forecast for your Monday. And we have some light snow showers out there for parts of New England as we head through the morning hours. Then it will start to clear out. Most areas will see partly to mostly cloudy skies. And temperatures get pretty cold up towards Maine. Look at this. By tomorrow morning, temperatures below zero in single digits in some spots. But as we get a look at the high temperatures for today, temperatures are in the 30s for most, low 40s down towards New York City.
Hey everyone, I'm Wyatt Everett. Let's get you right into that forecast. Now, as we go through this Monday, partly cloudy conditions, giving way to a little more sunshine in the afternoon. Also going to have a kind of a brisk northwest wind out there, so be ready for a little bit of a wind chill into Tuesday morning, staying clear as well. Temperature-wise, interesting to see the numbers not warming up a great deal. Into the upper 40s this afternoon, and then as we go into Monday night, temperatures dropping down once again below freezing to start you off on Tuesday. Be ready with that coat handy.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your Southeast forecast. Highs 42 degrees in Nashville, 56 in Raleigh, 62 in Charleston, looking at 49 chilly there in Birmingham, 59 in Pensacola. We'll see upper 50s in Tampa, and West Palm even 64 degrees. So cool temperatures behind the front that pushed through the other day. That will continue to extend to the southeast. High pressure over Arkansas, keeping things nice and clear through Monday afternoon. You can see nice and sunny over Atlanta, and we'll stay nice and clear for the first part of the week.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, it was a frigid journey to Antarctica for one doctoral student, but he's getting a warm reception on TikTok. He's gone viral after sharing parts of his research on the Antarctic ice. Alicia Smith has the story.
So what's the difference between ice that you make at home in your freezer and ice here in Antarctica? The answer to that is bubbles.
If Austin Carter had to pick a theme song, it would probably be Ice, Ice Baby. The 27-year-old doctoral student and Royal Oak native has been living on the southernmost continent for 50 days, where researchers are drilling for ice.
So ice cores from Antarctica are this unique scientific resource. They contain a record of Earth's climate that's pretty much unrivaled by other archives.
I caught up with him in Sydney, Australia via Zoom this week after he just wrapped up his third trip near the South Pole. He joined researchers from 15 universities and ColdX to find the oldest ice on the planet and study the prehistoric dust particles trapped inside.
What is the oldest core of ice you've uncovered?
Our oldest ice sample that we've collected now is greater than 4 million years old. This is the oldest ice that's ever been collected on the planet.
And he's been serving up this polar science knowledge to the masses.
Here are 5 things we can and cannot do while living here in Antarctica.
This video racked up 27.5 million views on TikTok.
My mother actually encouraged me to do, she was like, people really have a lot of questions. You should make an educational video.
The most popular question? Where do you go to the bathroom?
We pretty much have a designated bathroom tent and, it's nothing fancy, but it works.
Well, in Michigan, ice shelves have started to form along the Great Lakes, but with temperatures warming recently, officials are warning that the ice shelves can pose very serious dangers. Lynette Grant has more.
A mild December stalled development of shelf ice along the Lake Michigan shoreline. Thanks to our blast of cold weather, an ice shelf is now forming. This shelf, while photogenic, is quite dangerous, especially with our recent rise in temperatures.
Just like you respect the water in the summer when they tell you not to swim, when they tell you not to go out on that ice shelf, it's for a reason.
With shelf ice, you never know where it starts or ends, or how strong it is. That's why officials urge you to never walk on it. Despite this warning, I saw several people walking on the ice toward Lake Michigan.
Shelf ice goes out there into the lake and then drops off there at the edge of the water, and so it's really hard to tell what is a good strong point, what's a weak point.
This year's ice is bringing a surprise treat for visitors, something you'd normally see in Arctic regions.
I've never noticed an iceberg here before, and I've lived here all my life, so it's just super cool. It fascinates me that, kind of makes me think there should be penguins walking on it or something.
Within the last week, photographers have been flocking to the lakeshore, capturing pictures of this iceberg. Drone photographer Leif Warner says this is something he had to see for himself, both with his eyes and the eyes of his drone.
On the far side of it, on the western side, there is a cliff, and so it looks very dangerous if you were to try to navigate out to it. So luckily I have the drone to go out there and kind of fly it around and investigate.
For as long as the ice lingers on the Lake Michigan shoreline, visitors are encouraged to enjoy it from a distance.
Well, we've talked a lot about this program, about staying safe in the winter and things to do to protect your home and car from frigid temperatures. But how does the military prepare soldiers for sub-zero temperatures? Audrey Boucher takes a look.
They come up here, they're exposed to having to, work in the snow and the ice and the cold, and not only getting their tactics accomplished, but making sure their equipment functions as well. So it goes back to training to prepare for that Arctic part of the National Defense Strategy.
This year's Winter Northern Strike introduced service members from the Army and Air Force Special Operation Forces and emergency response teams to the automated image-based medical sensing drone. It was first introduced by the engineering company Arete during last summer's Northern Strike. AIMS features key components that include locating casualties, their positions such as standing, sitting, or laying down. It can also gather vitals.
Another thing we strive to do in the exercise is integrate industry to expose rotational training units with things they may not have seen before, threats that may be on the horizon for them. So it means a lot to the exercise and to the units to be able to experience those unique training opportunities and threats.
There's also the Red drone that can fly up to 1,000 feet. It's designed for intelligence gathering and drops tennis balls to simulate explosive munitions, like grenades.
We call it Red drone, so that's kind of the UAS harassment that we can expose units to. Again, the things that we're seeing around the world in real time. We're able to replicate those and expose units to that little bit of harassment and training so that they can get a better idea of what they may experience.
Well, have you ever seen a bald eagle in person? Well, nature enthusiasts gathered during the weekend to feast their eyes on this national symbol. Photojournalist Westbrook Shortell has the story.
They come from everywhere to see our nation's bird, that majestic creature. And we're so happy that people are finding it.
Have you ever been before? No. We just signed up online.
Question, they come here maybe to watch these eagles in action.
So we have the two nests here at the lake, and so a couple of these birds, 4-ish of these birds are going to stay here because they reuse their nest year after year after year. The rest of these birds, if they're adults, they're probably going to go to some other place in central New York, or maybe the Finger Lakes region.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Plenty of sunshine across the plains today and pretty quiet for most of the Midwest today. Now, we do have a quick round of some light rain snow mix sweeping in from the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley for the day tomorrow with a quick clipper system, but still plenty of sunshine and mild temperatures across the plains. Look at that. Wichita getting to 59 for Tuesday. Jumping ahead into Friday or Wednesday, we're even warmer there. 65 for the high in Wichita on Wednesday and pretty quiet for the rest of us.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region. It's going to be really nice today. We will start off on the cool side, 30s and 40s, and then climb mainly into the 60s across the region this afternoon. Just a few passing clouds as we head into your Tuesday. Mostly cloudy across far south Texas. Otherwise, staying with a lot of sunshine to the north. And then comfortable temperatures continue. 60s even pushing 70 in a few locations Tuesday afternoon as well.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Monday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, it's warm again. Record warmth possible along the I-5 corridor, including again in the Emerald City. 62 later today in Seattle. That's warm for the finale of January around here. Back to the mid-40s, even in Missoula, nearly 80 in San Diego. Next weather maker, really just this big ridge of high pressure keeping everything warm through the Four Corners in the northwest, but some heavy rain steering north into BC today. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, recently, a chunk of the nation was unusually cold thanks to the polar vortex. Meteorologist Anthony McCarry says it's nothing to fear because it's always here.
Now, what you might not know is that when the jet stream is strong, the polar jet, this air is confined into northern Canada, of course, the Arctic Ocean. And for us here in southern New England, when the jet stream is strong, we don't necessarily get a ton of cold air in our region. This would be milder temperatures for a longer period of time, maybe even some quieter weather. When the jet stream weakens, that's when the polar vortex becomes disturbed. We get areas of it that break off from the main circulation and move into the continental United States. Sometimes this can reach all the way down toward the south coast. And for us here in southern New England, this is also the potential time when we can get snow to accumulate even more. Storms will work up the East Coast in the milder air, but then tap into the cold air over us to produce more snowfall.
Well, we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. you so much for joining us today. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at why bear sightings are becoming more common across the U.S. I'm meteorologist Eileen Whalen, and make it a great Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.